Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Baer, and I am here to take you on a little bit of a tour of utilizing GitLab Duo throughout your DevSecOps process. But first, a disclaimer. I'd like to say that this presentation and linked pages contain information related to upcoming products, features, and functionality. It is important to note that the information presented is for informational purposes only. Please do not rely on this information for purchasing or planning purposes. As with all projects, the items mentioned in this presentation and linked pages are subject to change or delay. The development, release, and timing of any product's features or functionality remain at the sole discretion of GitLab Inc. Here we have a roadmap of our journey, otherwise known as GitLab Flow. It starts with epics to be able to capture all of our requirements in the form of issues. We assign milestones to those epics to be able to create a release of our application. And then our issues are fundamental building block of our requirements we have for our project. Then we'll assign our issue to a developer to be able to develop. The developer will go ahead and create a merge request based on that issue, where they will start to code their application and make modifications to it. Then they will push that code and then have automated tests run, as well as scans, to be able to look for any vulnerabilities or any defects that they may have within their application that they've coded. Afterward, they will be able to collaborate and review the application itself and the changes that have been made, be able to approve those changes, and then merge them back into the default branch of the application. At that time, we'll go ahead and run our pipeline again to be able to look for any kind of vulnerabilities as well as any defects, and then be able to deploy it. All this within GitLab itself that helps you go from idea through production of that idea. As we are going through GitLab Flow, we are going to look at how GitLab Duo can help with writing issue descriptions, merge request descriptions, code suggestions, and explaining vulnerabilities. The first area that we're going to look at is how GitLab Duo can help with writing descriptions for issues. Okay, so now I have transitioned over into my GitLab project, as you see. And over on the left navbar, I can see that I have pinned areas within GitLab to be able to have quick reference to get to them. Right now, I am looking at my repository, but I have the ability to be able to go into my plan to be able to create issues. I have coding that I can go ahead and make modifications to my code. Build to be able to run a pipeline to be able to build the application. Secure to be able to secure the application. Deploy for deploying the application. Operate for operating and looking at my environments and so forth. Monitoring my application and being able to analyze my application. So I am going to go into plan and go into issues, and I'm going to create a new issue for the capability that I would like to be created. So go ahead and click on a new issue, and I'm going to say, create a search capability for my application. And as you see, I've got it as an issue type, and the description is by default. But you'll also notice here that I have a Tanuki icon for AI actions. If I press on the Tanuki icon, I can generate an issue description simply by putting in the description of what I would like the description to say. So I'm going to go ahead and write, create a search capability for my application. I'm going to go ahead and submit it. And then GitLab Duo will go ahead and take the description that I've written and include it as in my issue. So here I've got create a search capability, a summary for it, what the description is for it, and also a note that says that the description was generated using GitLab Duo. This helps to be able to expedite creation of descriptions. It gives you a place to be able to start from, be able to modify as you would like, to be able to write out the requirements for your application, saving time for the person writing the issue that normally they wouldn't have. So I go ahead and click Create Issue. And now my issue has been created. The next area we're going to look at is how GitLab Duo can help us with creating our merge request descriptions. And here is my issue that I had created for creating a search capability for my application. I'm going to go ahead and click on Create a Merge Request. When I do so, GitLab will go ahead and create a new merge request based on the issue that I've created. So here we see my new merge request that has my title that it took from my issue. I also see in my description that we have a link back to that issue to close the issue once the merge request has been merged. So we see our familiar Tanuki icon here that gives us the opportunity to add in AI actions from GitLab Duo. I click on that, and let's go ahead and fill in the merge request template. So what GitLab will do is take the issue. So what GitLab will do is go ahead and take the title of the merge request and apply an AI-generated description. And voila, there we have it. It will retain this close the issue itself, give us a description for what our search capability is. It will then go ahead and write in what new files we should add in. In this case, it's using JavaScript as well as an index.html file and cascading style sheet that helps us to be able to contain the styles. We also see that we have testing available within it. So this AI skip is a comment that says that, okay, our AI has put in a comment for testing as well as screenshots. And then we have a note, again, as a reference that says that this description was generated using GitLab Duo. So we can go ahead and accept and create our merge request like so by clicking merge request. So this saves time for developers to be able to include in the description for my merge request that will allow the developer to be able to code from it, saving time that they won't have to type in a description. So here I've got my merge request. As you notice, we also have a branch that was created as a result of creating the merge request here. The next area we're going to look at on our tour of GitLab Flow using GitLab Duo is pushing code. So for pushing code, we are going to take advantage of the code suggestions capability within GitLab Duo. So I'm going to go ahead back into my project that I have here, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the branch that we've created as a result of the merge request. So go ahead and do so. And now I'm in my repository with my branch selected up here to be able to make my modifications. So I'm going to go ahead and here's a pro tip. Hit the dot button or period, and it will automatically open my web IDE within GitLab that you see here. So here's my project within my web IDE. You'll also notice a familiar icon here, my Tanuki. This will allow me to use GitLab chat whenever I would like to, as you see the notification that comes up there. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new file. I'm going to call this search.js, if I remember correctly. I think that's right. And I'm going to go ahead and put in a comment for adding in search capability. So I'm going to ask, create a JavaScript file to input a search criteria. And then when I go ahead and write in what I would like, you'll see that code suggestions will automatically come back with a recommendation. If I want to accept this code suggestion, I just go ahead and click on the tab to be able to add in my code. And you'll see that it also builds upon the suggestion that it made before to continue suggesting. Okay, so now I have my code for being able to input a search criteria. So let's go ahead and save that. And we'll go ahead and commit to my branch. Add search criteria. Okay. Commit to my branch there. As you see, I have the ability to create a new MR, but I already have my MR, so I not have to worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my project. So continuing on our journey through GitLab Flow with the assistance of GitLab Duo, we now come upon the opportunity to explain this vulnerability. So as we are making code changes, as we saw within the last part, we have a pipeline that runs as a result of that. And within that pipeline, we could add in security scans to be able to look for any kind of vulnerabilities that we may have inadvertently added within our code. Explain this vulnerability helps you to understand exactly what the vulnerability is, where it exists within the code, and how it can be remediated. So let me show you how that works. If I go back into my project, into my repository, if I go into my secure area and go ahead and click on my vulnerability report, I'm presented with all of the vulnerabilities, in this case, that are within this project. I'm going to go ahead and look for my SAST vulnerabilities by filtering on SAST. Here I have some SAST vulnerabilities that were found within my application. If I click on one of them, this is of medium severity, I then get an explanation about what the vulnerability is in the description. An example of what it would look like, where it exists within the project, and actually the location within the file within the project, and a report on what the code says. If I continue to scroll down, I see that I've got an explain vulnerability button that's available for me to be able to give additional information that's generated by GitLab Duo. So I go ahead and click on explain vulnerability, and then we will have a response that comes back from GitLab Duo. Okay, we have our description, we have our example of what we have from that, and then we get such nice things as fixed code examples. So I can actually take this code and replace where I have my violating code to be able to help remediate the vulnerability. In addition to using GitLab Duo while you're developing your applications, GitLab Duo is useful throughout the DevSecOps process with AI capabilities for explaining this code to be able to generate tests based on changes within my merge request, being able to summarize issue review, being able to do value stream forecasting, look at CI/CD pipeline failure and how to resolve it, being able to summarize a merge request, and so on. I've gone back to my project and you'll see that I've got help down here. Go ahead and click on that, and I've got a GitLab Duo chat available, so I can ask a question. So what if I want to, how do I set up a GitLab ci.yaml file to include security? Well, get more specific on that. SAST security scans. So now I can see that GitLab Duo Chat has provided some information for me on how I can build my GitLab ci.yaml file for doing SAST scanning. And it's also given me an example of GitLab ci.yaml file that includes my SAS scanning. So on our journey through GitLab Flow with the assistance of GitLab Duo, we're now going to look at the ability to generate tests for the changes that we make within a merge request. So I'm going to go back into my project, and I'm going to go into my merge requests. And here I have the merge request that I'd created previously for a search capability. If I go into changes within the merge request, I have the new code that I just added in using code suggestions. If I click on this ellipsis, I have the ability to suggest test cases. So if I go ahead and click on the test cases, I then have some unit tests that were created as a result. So I could take a copy of this to be able to create a unit test for the changes that I made within my merge request. This helps me to save time so I don't have to write those test cases by hand. I can have them automatically generated for me using GitLab Duo. And now we come to one of my favorite capabilities that we have within GitLab Duo is the ability to be able to explain any kind of failure that I have within my pipeline. And we do this using the pipeline root cause analysis. So I'm going to go ahead and go back into my project. I'm going to go into my pipelines. And I've had several pipelines that have passed that you see here, but let's go to one that did not pass. Go ahead and click on my second page. Passed. Go ahead and go to my third page. I will find one. I could have probably searched for one up here. So I have a failed pipeline here. I'm going to go ahead and investigate in that pipeline by clicking on it. And I see that I have a problem here within my production job, within my production stage. I'm going to go ahead and click on my production job. And here I've got that the job failed with an error code 1, explanation of what happened to some extent, but I'm going to have to go through this to be able to understand what is going on. It says, okay, I've got some problems here with my configuration. I'm going to use GitLab Duo to help me understand why this is failing. So I'm going to go ahead and click on root cause analysis and generate the root cause analysis for why my job is failing. So I click on root cause analysis and I get an explanation that says that it failed because it had a Helm operation already in progress when auto deploy was executed. So it also gives me a suggestion to fix the issue that I have here that will allow me to be able to resolve the issue that I have with my job. So it's very helpful for taking out a lot of the time it takes to be able to debug exactly where the problem is coming from. It's great. I love it. And now we get a chance to look at our value stream forecasting within GitLab Duo to be able to predict the future based on the analytics that we have. So in my particular project, I don't have enough information, but on our gitlab.com site for our GitLab project, I see that I've got a toggle here to be able to forecast what our deployment frequency is going to be for the next 6 weeks, you see here. So based on the information that I've had collected, I can use my GitLab Duo to show what my deployment frequency is going to look like in the coming weeks ahead. So we are averaging about 650 that we're expecting to have over the next 6 weeks. So this is nice for being able to prepare for what our deployment frequency trends are telling us in terms of our environments that we need to set up to deploy to make sure they are resilient. GitLab Duo is your DevSecOps companion for being able to help development teams develop features within the application, improve quality, securing their applications, and facilitating collaboration. I'd like to thank you for going on this tour of GitLab Duo with me as it pertains to GitLab Flow, investigating many of the capabilities that we have available within Duo. Check back again soon because we are always expanding on our Duo offering to help teams in their DevSecOps process. Again, my name is Anthony Baer, and very happy to have presented this demonstration for you.